As the prophet of esports, I rely on trustworthy and meaningful data every day. Data from our research partner, YouGov, offers the most complete view of esports fans and gamers in the world, providing context to who they are, what they think, the brands they buy, and things they do. YouGov's connected insights and research services inform strategy at every level. If you're a team, a brand, agency, or rights holder, you should be talking with YouGov. Their partners measure and maximize ROI and are telling compelling stories with data. Visit yougov.com/gaming-esports to learn more. We're going to do a YouGov segment. Before that, I just want to mention, for those of you who don't know, the Business of Esports, guys, is supported by YouGov. They're a leading international research firm. They supply the best data on gamers, games, esports fans around the world. Show them some love. Go check them out. If you're in the industry at all, if you're looking for data, you're looking to support your sales, like when you're selling, right? You need data to be able to sell to a customer, to be able to prove why, you know, this makes sense for them to do. We've used it for our own sales efforts. The data is incredibly actionable. It's incredibly valuable. Go check them out. yougov.com/gaming-esports. They have a bunch of free reports, a bunch of free data there that you can go check out. So I put that link in the chat for everybody. I have a couple of YouGov stats this week, which I thought were interesting. So let me just bring them up here. And this one was about, it's actually a new product, I believe. Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's what they call YouGov Teen Profiles. Is that, I think it is, if I'm not mistaken, it's a relatively new product.
I thought it was new as well.
And this is what they're calling a better way to understand and engage Gen Z. So like, I felt like this was great in the context of us talking about Ariana Grande and, you know, all these other sort of Gen Z kind of activations.
This is perfect. Jeff's
so let me just read some of the highlights from this study, okay? So the headline, it first starts with teenagers dream of fame and creating video content, okay? And here's the backup in terms of data. As many Gen Z teens say they want to work for themselves as say they want to work for a company. So it's about half-half, okay? Which historically has not been the case, right? Like that's a large percentage of people who want to work for themselves. 1 in 10 Gen Z respondents aged 13 to 17 say they want to be a vlogger, YouTuber, or professional streamer. That's 11% of all Gen Z, right? If you extrapolate to the entire population, which is massive, 11% want to be a vlogger, YouTuber, or professional streamer. Now, if you look at which ad channels, okay, are most likely to grab Gen Z's attention, among boys aged 13 to 17, what channel do you guys think is the top to grab Gen Z's attention for boys aged, and let me see if I can get this picture in big up, hang on, because it's really fascinating.
MTV.
Yes, that's exactly.
CNBC? What was this? What channel?
Let me. I'm gonna share the screen so you guys can see this because I think you're gonna be really quite surprised. So let me make this bigger. Can everyone see this?
Yes.
So if you look at Gen Z boys, age 13 to 17, social media, right? Social media is 28%. Video games, 24%. So for boys aged 13 to 17, video games are basically nearly as effective as marketing through social media. It's basically one and the same in terms of effectiveness, which I think is incredible. I don't know if you guys have thoughts on that. But what's interesting is maybe the difference with girls. Because if you notice, social media, like it's a drastic change between boys and girls in terms of effectiveness of video games as an ad channel. Lindsay, I don't know if you have thoughts on this.
I mean, not anything other than it does make sense to me. I still think that there's a barrier with getting girl gamers to play the type of live games that where advertising would actually be effective. And it's kind of like a chicken and egg problem because there's so many so many boys already on the platform that I can make it a little bit.
But the study, the way it's built, right, should removes the factor of like less girl gamers than boy gamers, because you or maybe it doesn't, right? Because you're polling girls age 13 to 17 broadly, so US teens broadly. Is the hidden variable here that you just have many fewer female gamers, and therefore it's always going to skew a statistic like this? Not that girls respond less effectively to video game ads?
No, I think it's more of a question of what types of games girls are playing. Can you scroll up a little bit just so I can see scroll up to the title
headline.
of it? Yeah, so I and this is again completely this is all what's the word? It's all quantitative or qualitative. It's not, I don't have any numbers on this, but one of my guesses would be that a lot more boys play games that are online, which means that there are opportunities for activations, things like what's happening in Fortnite or what happens even in LCS. All those games have opportunities for activations and to partner with companies. I would think that girls play fewer online games and interact more with social media online, where those algorithms can then tap into their interests.
I mean, I just love that there's something really actionable here, right? If you're a marketing person and you're spending, the reality is you're just as good to spend on a video game ad channel in some way, right? Like, meaning through a video game, especially to reach boys age 13 to 17, than you are to run Facebook ads, which I don't think historically would have been common thinking or common feeling, right? Like, I don't think many marketers gut feel would have said that's the case today.
Absolutely. I think that's a great point. I mean, I guess the only thing that this doesn't account for is I think a lot of company, like with social media, you obviously usually get direct response. So it's like, you're getting immediate, often purchasing, whereas this is talking about grabbing attention. So that's incredibly valuable for like brand advertising. But I think you'd want, the next question would be, okay, what about purchase intent? And maybe, who knows, YouGov probably has that data, but that's obviously, would be something, if I'm an advertiser, I'm probably curious about that.
Can you pull up Wade's comment? Because this is actually the conclusion I was thinking about when you were pointing out the difference between girls and boys.
He says, I thought there'd be more of a correlation between video games and Twitch. That disparity is surprising to me. Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know about the correlation, but what is surprising to me is how low the numbers are on Twitch.
I mean, I'm trying to think of why that would be. I can tell you.
And why live TV beats it out. Or online.
But can I have a thought? Is that the one thing Twitch has done, which I think is horrible, is they've made all of their ads unskippable. And I think for the 13 to 17, attention span of a gnat, like if you have a 25, 30-second ad and they're running in a row and Twitch doesn't let you skip them, like the likelihood that age group pays attention to it, I don't know. It's a theory, but I do think Wade's right that maybe the bigger takeaway from this study is just how bad Twitch is at grabbing the attention of this category, because across the board, boys, girls, and overall. Please tell me one of you guys has a better theory on why live streaming platforms like Twitch are so bad.
I think your theory is the most compelling one that I can come up with. I mean, but it would be interesting to hear like what is Twitch's response to this, because this is fairly bearish. Like, I don't think anyone would say like, oh, live TV is better advertising channel than Twitch, or let me rephrase that. I think the narrative that we often pitch in the esports community, hey, if you want to reach boys age 13 to 17, like, you got to be on Twitch. You're crazy to not be on Twitch. And obviously this is percentage. So like, if the majority of eyeballs are on Twitch, you're still better off being on Twitch than being on live TV. But it is bad for Twitch that they seem to be less engaging than live TV. So I'd be curious, like, to hear what Twitch's response would be.
Jimmy, I point this at Jimmy because I want to make sure for next week, what I would love if we could get from YouGov is, and I'm sure we could, is I'd love to see how this changes for different age groups, right? Like if 18 to 25, if Twitch moves up the rankings here significantly, or if, you know, 35 or 25 plus moves up significantly. I'd be curious to see how the demographics shift, which ad channel is most likely to grab a person's attention. Because that, I think, is going to be telling, because that, if you're an advertiser, if you're a marketer, right, and you're trying to reach boys age 13 to 17, maybe Twitch is not the right place.
Super relevant, right? Especially when you think about Gen Z and Gen Alpha that grew up with phones and that were always bombarded with ads and solicitations, that know how to just mentally, you know, they have a much shorter attention span than millennials or older generational counterparts. And that's not because these kids are disinterested or have ADD or whatnot. It's because they're so used to the constant bombardment of ads that they're that much quicker in filtering the information, right? So yeah, definitely interested to see how this changes depending on what generation we look at. But again, incredibly actionable. I think not just from a video game company selling themselves, but also, right, obviously from an advertiser, like, where am I putting my money?
And I think what's interesting is maybe it's the more subtle forms of advertising, right? Because social media, video games, I feel like the advertising is more subtle. It's not like, boom, you can't watch the video or the streamer until this ad finishes, right? Like maybe for that age group, it has to be more subtle for it to be effective.
Well, there's also, I mean, advertising like badge app icons, right, that are rotating in the corner that maybe don't captivate your attention, or you know, I'm not sure what the reasoning is, right? There's a lot of, I don't want to say questions here, but there's a lot to unpack, definitely.
Cam says Twitch chat loses it during ad breaks. This is true. Every ad break on a Twitch channel is the same. You get the subscribers who, like, it's the sunglass emote. You know, I don't see any ads. I don't know what your problem is. Like, just sub. You get the non-subscribers who complain. You know, why 8 ad breaks? And then you get the group that's like, why don't you have an ad blocker installed? Like, it's 2021. This is every Twitch chat when an ad break runs. Wade says, yeah, that live TV beats Twitch with this demographic is most surprising.
Yeah.
This is, and I'll wrap up on this, guys. This is why I love the YouGov data, because every time we do one of these, it's like you learn something that goes against maybe what you believed, and you realize how effectively data like this can be put into practice and actually monetized if you're a business. So definitely go check them out, guys. YouGov.com/gaming-esports. It's stuff like this that for any business operating in and around gaming, you really have to be talking to them and pulling this kind of data that is relevant to you and who you're trying to reach, because it will really take your business to that next level. Cam says, exactly, Paul. That's exactly the chat. Yeah.
Of course you pull up that comment.
I will leave it up here if I have to. Okay.
Covering my face.